Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Wednesday, January 28th, almost done with January, and I cannot believe it. We're here for another day of helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions. Will looked like he was about to die, and all I could think to myself as your pen cup holder failed you was, I kind of wish that had happened on here. So the first thing they heard could have been, "Oh no, Will!" It would have made the show a lot more suspenseful. But I'm glad you're okay.
Welcome to the Rise Up. Oh no!
Oh God!
Oh God! Oh God! Oh geez! Now everyone saw it and everyone knows.
Yeah, there really is a gremlin, Alex, and he's sabotaged your setup and Will's setup, and now we're taking the day off. Take two. How are you guys today?
Well, I'm still in Miami, and I have a flight back home finally tonight. So hopefully I'm able to go home, but at the very least, it's cold in Miami. It's like 65 degrees. So,
Correct.
Alex, what about you?
It's still cold here. We're all languishing. It is funny when you go out into the wild of the island and see, the local Tibeans like bundled up. It's like 45 degrees outside and they're in like floor length parkas with they look like you every day in your office, but like out in the street, and it's very funny.
I also have languishing people, by which I mean animals, and I'm curious, how are your outside cats doing?
Oh, they're good. One of them.
They chilling?
We have like a couch underneath the carport that has like cat beds on it, and they each have a heating pad in it, and every night I run the heating pads all night, and one of the cats is smart, and she gets in there and burrows and like sits in this little cat house with this little lid that has a heating pad in it, and she sleeps there all night. And the other one is an idiot, and he sleeps in the dirt behind my trash can and refuses to sit on the couch unless it's like pouring rain and 20 degrees outside. If it's anything more than that, he's off in the wild, murdering, doing whatever it is. I mean, they're like, stray, and one of them is, not feral, like you can go hang out with him, but like he doesn't want anything to do with the house, or couldn't come in the house if his life depended on it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I did some reading because I was really concerned about it at first, and apparently, as long as like a cat that is used to being outdoors, as long as it's dry and over 20, they're probably fine.
Yeah, they adapt pretty remarkably.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
They hunker down, a lot of them together. We have cats at various stages of ferality, but some of them are, our family now. And the first like befriended stray now family cat, garden cat, he has made like the full transition to, when it's really cold like this, he will not go in a cat house. He is like that. He just doesn't understand it. I have made many cat houses, as most of you know, but he will come sit at the door and he will go inside. And last night he was inside getting a little warm up, and one of the other cats was like on the other side of the door, and she was looking at him like, "What are you doing? Can I go in there? Is it real?" And she was at that, like, she got in and she was like, this is fine, and eventually they both were just like settled into it. It was great. So hopefully wherever you are, wherever you listen, your animals are well, your people are well. And if you've got crypto questions, if you've got a prediction or something else, leave it below. And if you're listening in the future, the place to leave your comments is community.rumshq.com. Will, I know backstage you said you actually needed to do an update on the Bitcoin update you gave yesterday. So we going to look at a little chart today?
Sure are. Let me share my screen, and I'm on my laptop, so it's a little funky.
I'm on my
I'm whoa.
Okay, it looks good to me.
As I slowly zoom in on my touchpad here. So we might have a false bearish breakout. What that means here is maybe the recovery is actually here. Maybe. And we're actually starting to see some possible signs of it. So we're looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame. And let me just clean up this chart a little bit, make it real simple. So this yellow channel here is a bear flag. Typically, it breaks down to the bear side. But right now, we're having an opportunity, if you can zoom in here, where today's daily candle is trying to break back up into it. which could mean that this is going to be a false bearish breakout. That is something where it's like you initially get the move down, or if it's a false bullish breakout, you initially get that breakout move up, but it doesn't hold. And then it ends up collapsing. In this case, if you're bullish, you want to see it collapse, right? If you want to like start playing in the market again in a serious way, get some longs, buy spot positions, this is what you want to see. And so we're starting to see this. So we want to see by the end of today is we want to see Bitcoin close back above into this channel. Doesn't matter how far, just as long as it's in the channel. And then the key level to really be watching to say, okay, like, is this actually real? Is we want to see it also get above these key exponential moving averages here, because they're all points of additional resistance right now. The 12, the 21, and this blue one's the key one. That's the 55. And that is currently sitting at $91.5 thousand. So if Bitcoin can hold this channel and make this a false bearish breakout, and then get above that last batch of resistance we have there, 91.5 thousand, this could end up being a confirmed higher low, okay? So that's how we just read this chart. So that's actually really exciting. We don't have a confirmation yet, but this is potentially awesome. Also, if we pull up our indicators here, we're seeing signs that are saying this might really be a false bearish breakout. This might really be a higher low, and Bitcoin might start to recover here, because we've been oversold in the stochastic RSI, which is a very good bottom indicator for quite some time, and it's starting to go upwards. At the same time, our Moxie indicator here at the bottom, which is a measurement of momentum, bearish momentum has been weakening and weakening and weakening here since December 16th. We see that green line coming upwards. And if it crosses this white line, that is a sign to us that there is now officially more bullish momentum in the market than bearish momentum. And whatever setup you see on the chart, you should say the bullish scenario should happen more so than the bearish one. And we're so close to getting that flip. Bitcoin is oversold and finally starting to get out of oversold territory on the daily chart stochastic RSI. It looks like we're getting a false bearish breakout. And if Bitcoin can get above 91.5K, we could have confirmation of that, and things could really start to turn around here. So that's what I'm seeing just purely on the Bitcoin chart. And there's a reason why this is largely happening. And it has to do with the dollar. The dollar is falling here, right? Since January of 2025, the value of the dollar has fallen 15%. And this is being done on purpose. I'll talk about that in a second. But just to put a bow on our Bitcoin conversation here, this is one of the big reasons why gold and silver have been going parabolic, because they are largely priced in the dollar. And if people are less faithful and believe less in the dollar, then people go to safe haven assets. It's one of the reasons. There are other, like we've been fighting inflation, so you go to store of values. The value of the dollar is going down, you go to store of values. And also if the dollar is going down, you flee to assets, right? Because the purchasing power of the dollar is going down. So if you want to retain your purchasing power, you need to be in assets, right? One of the big reasons why gold and silver is going up. But because the value of the dollar has gone down 15%, and despite Bitcoin being a global asset, it is largely valued in the dollar. Stablecoins, USDT, USDC, DAI, all the others that provide most of the liquidity in crypto are, backed by the dollar. It is say, hey, we're a peg against the dollar. So if the value of the asset that measures value for your asset, Bitcoin, is going down, the value of your asset should be going up. Or in the case of Bitcoin, stop falling sooner. And that is what's happening here on the Bitcoin chart, is the value of the dollar is falling. And that is what's causing the false bearish breakout to be looking like it's actually genuinely printing here on Bitcoin's chart. And the last thing I'll say is the dollar is currently trying to find support, but this support line here is creating a lower low, a lower low, and a lower low. We're seeing continued weakness on the dollar's chart. And also the US government is incentivized to make sure the dollar gets weaker and weaker. But before I go into that, any questions? Any questions from the comments section? Alex, Evan, thoughts on what I just went over?
2 questions from the comments, but go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh.
No, you go.
No, you go.
Rock, paper, scissors.
It was a question about whether or not the constant barrage of influential news and, tweets, I'll add, from people in positions of power and influence make it harder to do technical analysis, given that we can see previously unpredicted impacts on price given, aggressive news developments and stuff.
Yeah, I'd say it's impossible to predict. It's impossible to do TA on short-term time frames with that. But if you zoom out to weekly and monthly, it really doesn't. The tweets don't change anything.
Interesting.
Because the market moves before the tweets, because the market knows, because of insiders.
We also had a question about the Bitcoin heat map. Eddie wanted to know, can we take a look at that too?
I haven't looked at that. Let me pull it up.
My note, Alex, for Exit Velo's question about news making charts hard, it was X Velo, news charting hard. I've got all these caveman notes. So I'm glad you duplicated that question. I appreciate it.
I added
a
little bit of a yapping.
It was good.
Yep. If we take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and this is the first time I've looked at this in a few days, we have some decent paydays here that go down. And also, oh, by the way, if anyone's looking at this for the first time, the brightest spots on this chart where price hasn't already gone to represent the largest amount of either long or short liquidations, in this case on Binance. So by looking at this, we can see where the financial incentive is in the market for market makers, centralized exchanges, and insider trading. Okay. And we can see that there's some decent paydays lower down still, as far down essentially as like $83,000, and then it disappears, right? There's not much liquidity to grab in the market lower. And that's the case even if I zoom out further. I'm looking at the 3-month time frame here. But the biggest single payday that's close is right here at $93,000. And of course, this batch here back up at $98,000. The other thing to take note is there are gaps on the futures chart. On the 4-hour time frame and the 1-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, there's a gap at $93,000. On the 1-hour time frame, that gap, funny enough, is right here. It's right in that biggest batch. So the gaps are lining up. The Bitcoin liquidation heat map is mostly lining up. What we're seeing on Bitcoin's chart is almost lined up, right? We're waiting for confirmation there. And the value of the dollar is certainly lined up with us seeing potentially, maybe, a recovery for Bitcoin. Maybe.
Doug says max pain is a glow up to 100K before 80K and then under. Almost like one of those fake outs,
That would be max pain, but it's hard to imagine that happening when precious metals have been doing so well, and then Bitcoin finally starts to recover. And if the value of the dollar keeps falling, it's hard to imagine that much of a slingshot. However, anything's possible in crypto, and it's always good that if you take positions and you're in profit, take some profits, because then you're protected either way, right?
Alex, I still don't have it on the board, so you got to tell the people to take their profits.
Got to take your profit. Don't you dare not.
Mm-hmm. If it fell what, Alex?
If it fell to anything sub 80, all I know is I'm acquiring.
Yes. And I also said I wanted to talk about why the United States is purposefully weakening the dollar. I mean, even Trump just yesterday was asked hey, the value of the dollar has fallen by blah, blah, blah percent, 15%. And then Trump's the dollar's doing great because it's what the government wants. It's two main things. Well, three really. One is the stock market does better. That's not the biggest reason though, but Trump puts a lot of value in the stock market going up, meaning things are good. The other thing too is, and this is a campaign promise, which is we want to increase the amount of exports we have to fight the trade deficit. One way you do that is you weaken your currency, because then the value of your goods priced in dollars are cheaper as compared to people buying it with euros and yen and all that other stuff, right? Because the value of your dollar is weaker, so it increases exports. But the third thing, and this is the most important one, is the value of our debt is in dollars. And if our debt is now 15% cheaper because the value of the dollar has fallen 15%, that means we technically have less debt, and we have a lot of debt. And so that's why that is happening. There are negatives to the weakening of the dollar also, which is your purchasing power. All of our purchasing power is now 15% weaker than it was in the beginning of January of 2025 last year. It's fallen by 15%. That means things that we import in are typically around 15% more expensive. It's not exactly that because there's a lot of other things that go into it. But like our purchasing power has fallen 15% since the beginning of January of 2025. So, there are pros and cons to a weakening and a stronger dollar. And that's what's going on there.
I mean, the cons are that all of us are worse off.
Unless you're buying gold, but everyone's an investor,
Sure.
Alex. Everyone has money to invest. So like everyone's
out here.
Cash
Everybody's out here over leveraging
and they're not
on
living paycheck to paycheck. So it's fine.
precious metal futures.
Yeah,
I forgot. Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah, Giorgio's hits the nail on the head. So we'll have less debt, giving the government more excuse to get more debt, or
got it.
more money.
You got it.
And
I'm
those
also
rate
just waiting for
cuts,
the day.
everything.
I'm also just waiting for the day for the U.S. government to finally revalue the gold that they have, because the amount of gold that the U.S. has is actually priced at a price that's like 90% lower than where gold is currently. And I don't know what the reason is as to why we haven't reevaluated it, but I'm just waiting for like the dollar to fall down so our debt decreases by 15%. The government influences the gold market to continue to skyrocket. And then the US government goes, oh, hey, we're going to revalue the value of our gold. And then all of a sudden, the United States has like, I forget the amount. It's going to be like well into the trillions of dollars worth of gold, and then just like dump it on the market and then take that and then pay off our debt. I'm just waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, that would be an interesting move.
It would be an interesting move, and I feel like no one would go to jail for it because it's like, well, our debt's gone, so.
What does this mean for my Harry Potter Obama Sonic Inu, though?
It means it's gonna go up and down.
Insightful.
Sure it is.
It's gonna go up and down, Alex.
I was looking
Tell
for...
me why.
Oh, that too.
Conflicting Evans
did we just have a soundboard clash?
Yes, our Evans ran into each other.
I see. I was looking up a number here to see when it was. 1973. If you said that, I missed it. When gold was valued by the U.S. at $42.22 per ounce. So the current market prices, wouldn't it be wild if we sold the exact? That would create a top in my mind too, if the U.S. was unloading its gold, don't you think?
Oh yeah, duh.
Does the
Big time.
government actually have an incentive to aggressively pay off debt? Because like it's been there and it's been skyrocketing through every administration for all of our collective lifetimes, and it's never once been a concern for any of them.
Yeah, but
don't see
now it
any
is
reason for
because
that to
people are not buying U.S. bonds. And if people aren't buying U.S. bonds, then the government can't continue to spend as much money as it wants. So it's a balancing act that takes place over decades.
It's wild. The church of
Gross.
economics. Ugh, hurts me.
And government level market manipulation.
There's a couple like notoriously really bad Twitter accounts. One of them who I've now added to the list is apparently Cointelegraph, but another one is this account Bull Theory that posted yesterday. So the news is that it looks like the Senate Ag Committee Clarity Bill is actually going to get voted on. And their claim was that if passed, it would reduce market manipulation by 70%.
What?
How do you measure any of that?
Right.
Well, here's the thing, Will. It's easy when you just make it up, because there is absolutely nothing in the bill that guarantees or like prevents any of that. The best analysis that I could come up with was, if we assume that the powers that be who are exercising their new rights to enhanced surveillance on all of us using centralized crypto exchange platforms, if they have our best interests at heart, then technically they could use the things laid out in clarity to reduce market manipulation on exchanges by some arbitrary amount, assuming that they use their powers for good. I don't think I've ever seen an example of enhanced government surveillance of private citizens to be a good thing for anybody, except for whoever's farming the data. And also, I forget the exact number. Someone fact check me. But like in the grand scheme of things, the amount of crypto trading overall, like total crypto trading volume that happens on the few centralized exchanges that would be beholden to new clarity rules, it's like 4% of the global daily volume of crypto trading. So yeah, technically, the ability to manipulate markets through illicit trading in roughly 4% of the total daily volume could go up, assuming that the government all of a sudden has our best interests at heart, which is how I rewrote their tweet. And yeah, so that was all nonsense. It really truly is like so hard to go on the internet and get information about anything because it's all nonsense. I was just like, this is like a major platform that is paying $1,000 a month for a gold check mark on Twitter, just making shit up. It's like this doesn't mean anything. You just 100% of this was just made up.
Like
yeah,
GPT.
I've seen Bull Theory post some good stuff and some bad stuff.
But it's just like what's the Kabisi letter is another one that like every now and then they post a really good breakdown with some straight data, and then sometimes it's just straight propaganda, and I'm like, who the fuck is running this page?
Better watch it. Get their name out your mouth.
Kobisa, but the thing is like so.
I absolutely won't when they post dumb shit.
Yeah, it's mostly good, but also like Jesse Cohen is a great analyst on Twitter. But every now and again, you see like a lot of like, not a lot. He doesn't do it a lot, but every now and again, you'll see like a very, 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 very pro-Israel like post go on for a little bit, and I'm just like, all right, Jesse, I'm just gonna wait for your next post. I'm just gonna wait for the macro data to come back out. I'll see you later, Jesse.
It's just mostly made up. And what's the way that you ultimately would have to fact check stuff like that? You would need to read a really dense, really dry 150 to 400 page long document to try to figure out why it's wrong. Or you could ask your ChatGPT or whatever, and the nature of the way that you ask the question, plus however it's prompted, will give you your cognitively biased, designed answer, perfectly curated to make you happy. Because again, they're not necessarily trained to make you informed, they're trained to make you feel good so that you use them more. Because I mean, oh my God, that's the other thing. Like it's either just straight made up nonsense, or it's like you didn't even attempt to mask the fact that you just ChatGPT'd this post, and it's all nonsense. So I will tell
you a quick like, if you want to get better facts from your AI, I read an article last night about using different tools for different purposes, and I've seen people talk about this before. Everybody's always debating, is Claude better at creative writing, is GPT better, or Perplexity better at facts? And I saw this post from an account that I did not recognize, but I looked back through their account. They've written a lot of really great articles, and a lot of them have to do with AI or using tech well. And this one has a hypey title, but it's good. How to Master AI in 30 Days, the exact roadmap. And one of the things they talk about for using the models well is how each model is, how it processes data, how it's been trained, how it processes input, its capacity limits. And the thing that they were saying is that if you are using, if you're doing a large data problem, you need it to survey a large data set, you should be using Gemini because it has the greatest threshold for like tokens you can spend before a particular query or thread starts to degrade. If you're doing any kind of creative writing, you should use Claude because it has the best capacity to understand a voice, but it also has the lowest token threshold. So you need to make sure that you're prompting it not just according to some like Grand Wizard's prompt, but in this particular way where you feed it documents that it has access to, and then you add context judiciously in this kind of way. It was really helpful and specific and practical, and I am going to try and turn it into a little mind map now that we've got Gemini. We've been using GPT. You guys have been using Claude, mostly Alex and Tori, and I'm just getting on the Claude train. But I do think that as people continue to rely on AI for, junk fact checking,
Fact check yourself, brother.
that they will get smarter about using the right model, or, that the right tool will present itself. It's like you can hammer a nail with a screwdriver. It's just painful and slow.
I mean, you just have to realize, and you can run experiments on this to like prove it to yourself and get better at you writing better questions and prompts if what you're doing is writing a question. Because like you will get 3 different answers if the question is, you trying to figure out what could incentivize Bitcoin's price to go to back to 100,000. Here's your question. If I set up the question by saying, so many people keep telling me that Bitcoin's about to go back to 100,000 and I don't think that's going to happen, why wouldn't it happen? Versus, I think Bitcoin's going to go back to 100,000. I feel like I keep seeing all these signs. Everyone seems to agree. Why would it go? The same exact LLM by the same person is going to give you the exact answer to your specific question. So it will prove to you that it's not going to happen or that it is going to happen. And there's no it's not going to necessarily stop and check you unless you then prompt a further check. So like if I'm doing something that I know is based on an opinion, like if I'm trying to figure out answers or information about something that is opinion based, not necessarily just like, give me a specific piece of information that I'm looking for with no external motivation. Okay, great. Then I can go fact check that. But if I'm having a conversation that includes feelings and opinions, you gotta also then argue the other side. So usually I get to the end of one of those and just like, okay, now convince me that everything we just decided was wrong. And it usually starts off with, wow, you're right to fact check me. And then immediately starts posting things that fly in the face of everything it just said.
So, but that's another reason that if you have a corpus, a body of information, if you're using the right model and you're asking it for facts, the other setting that folks may or may not know about is temperature. If
Make
you
no mistake.
Adjust the temperature, don't make any mistakes. If you adjust the temperature, it ranges from 0 to 1. Some models might present it differently, but this is effectively like how much liberty do you want it to take with the actual task it's doing. GPT is not recalling information or searching, it's predicting the word that's most likely to come next or should come next in its answer based on what you give it as input or what it has to draw from as, files, a database. So if you asked it, for example, is this bank steep? It is searching the internet, it's searching its inputs to say, okay, is this person talking about a finance bank or are they talking about a hillside? And the context that they find will inform the way they answer. If the temperature is set to 0, they'll be like as literal as possible, a lot less likely to hallucinate, a lot more like analytic, factual. If you wanted to ideate with GPT and you wanted it to give you some novel things, you could set the temperature to 1 on the extreme end. And it's a range, it's a spectrum. And you could ask it the same question 3 times. And if it's set to 1, it'll probably give you wildly different answers because it's predicting with a broader set of like creative parameters what word should come next in answer to this question. I have not played around with that much. This is another tip from that article. And so I feel like we could probably get better at generating factual results if we, like you are always saying, Alex, it'd be nice if we had a shared workspace. But if we give it a good body of like data and facts that we want to draw from, fresh threads for all the inquiries so it doesn't degrade context, and then we set the temperature for analytic inquiries to 0. Don't give me any crap, pal. It just opened my eyes to say like, oh man, we use this stuff a lot, but we're going to get even more fine-tuned in the next 6 months, I think.
And it will tell you that, I mean, you can pull that specific thing out of it. Like I remember when the trend was arguing with it about how many R's are in strawberry.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that wasn't because like it is stupid. It's because of this very specific way in which it uses like prediction to place the next letter or the next word like in something. It doesn't analyze. Because if you went in and asked like, why can't you spell strawberry? It will give you like the full rundown, like, well, based on X, Y, and Z and the way that this token flow works or some shit, stuff that's all over my head. But it's very interesting, and it walked you through this thing where it's like, we're not actually like looking at a word and picking it apart. So like, I know how to spell it if that was the question, but if it's how many R's, are in there, and you're looking at like chunks of data, like something, I don't know. It was an interesting read. I probably should have redone it before I tried to explain exactly what it was, but it was interesting because I had no idea either that, like, you know, it's not like talking, it's not like writing a sentence wherein it's planning the next thing that it's going. It's just using like probability to fill in the blanks repeatedly over and over again, based on where it thinks the conversation like would go, based on things that it's queried and gathered data on. It was interesting.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling. Hello,
I was
my
about to say,
darling.
who's going to do it first?
Yep. We're having a staring contest. I'm so sorry. Back now. Thank you very much. Will, you were laughing about something a second ago. Not to like rug your thought, Alex, but I'm always curious whenever I see Will cheesing. I am.
Oh no, I saw a comment. I can't remember what it was. Oh, it was. I think it was Robots Declarer said they made money on like some Ondo silver thing, and then immediately put it into Uniswap. And he's like, I didn't keep any profits. I just put it immediately into Uniswap because Will said sexy things about them. I'm just
Damn
like,
it.
oh no, oh no.
Financially advised.
Okay, so here's a question that I've gotten once or twice. You know, and we've talked about this before, but the idea that you've got a whole bunch of things in a portfolio, and right now, if you know prices are hemorrhaging and bleeding, and you're trying to figure out, you know, where would it be worth consolidating effort and interest, I thought we could recap the ingredient, not necessarily like just making picks, but the ingredients that would go into trying to determine whether or not on a broader crypto market recovery token XYZ has a higher or lower chance of ever coming back. And I had never phrased it quite this way before, but curious to get your guys' thoughts. If you're looking at a list of altcoins, let's say you're looking at a list of 20 altcoins, and they're all varying degrees. So you've got stuff, you know, all the way from ETH, all the way down to, you know, some kind of more niche, you know, old school, geriatric, archaic altcoins like, I don't know, the Graph, something no one's talked about in forever.
I always get questions about the Graph though when I'm live.
Damn.
I know, because they have a lot of bag holders.
Shots fired at the Graph. Why'd you have to pick them, Alex? I'm just kidding.
Name anything.
I'm kidding.
There's,
I'm joking.
There's 20 million.
You're right.
You're
right.
In a world where the Graph makes an astonishing recovery, there are two possibilities. One, something completely unpredictable occurs that would create a situation wherein that isolated altcoin would go up. And we've seen that happen before. No one ever sees it coming. The only people who get lucky are the ones who happen to, you know, by some coincidence have exposure to it, and they get to pretend like they're geniuses. But unpredictable, nothing in the chart would ever say like this thing's about to go up 800%. It's just technically possible. So you're either banking on that, or you're banking on a world wherein the broader crypto market recovers and brings that thing along with it, just because it happens to be there. And in that scenario, which is much more likely, could you imagine a world wherein only those things go, but like Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and a handful of the other, like, you know, let's say top 20s just don't? Because I'm struggling to come up with any reason why anyone holding like a geriatric bag of an altcoin that's way down from years ago that you're just like hoping is going to recover someday wouldn't be more incentivized and more likely to see some sort of a recovery to just literally roll it all into one of the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Your question, you're asking, what are the odds and likelihood that if Bitcoin, etc., the core assets go up, everything else goes up?
Yeah, like if you've got a
sounds
bag
like
of random altcoins
Yeah.
and you're hoping that, you know, they'll recover someday, why not just put it all into ETH? You know, like which one is more likely?
The answer I see most often is because people believe that the ETH won't make them generational wealth, or the Bitcoin won't make them generational wealth.
I think that's the great lie.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
it
that's
is
the great
lie.
con.
I don't think it's as likely that your altcoin will go up, and I also think it's I think people overestimate the likelihood their altcoin bag will go up, and I think they underestimate how much money buying Bitcoin right now, whenever now happens to be, could make you in the future.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I think.
Yeah, and then there's also the idea it's, well, I'm down in this altcoin position by 90%, so the only way for me to make my money back quickly is if this comes back, because me making my money back quickly with Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin potentially never going to happen, to get me back to being in the black, right? At that point, you just have to say, like, that money's gone, take that money and start, building a healthier position in other places.
Sunken cost fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's that simple.
Yeah, because, percentage is percentage. So it doesn't matter if you make the percentage gain back on, I'll pick the next one that Stecklerish threw out, Gala.
Oh, God.
Or if you were to make it back on Sol. Like, it doesn't matter. It would be, at that point, you're playing the game of probability instead. And I don't know, I'm just like, when I sit here and someone asks me, like, hey, this is what's in my portfolio, there's, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 random altcoins. I always want to just be like, look, we could sit here and try to figure out, like, the likelihood that all of these individual projects could make some sort of recovery and, like, what it would take. Or you could literally just consolidate it into, like, something that isn't junk. And just know that, sure, perhaps it is less likely for ETH to go up 800%, wherein some little piddly, nearly dead altcoin from 5 years ago could very easily do 800% if the stars aligned,
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, would you rather sit here with a 98% chance of that not happening forever, or would you rather take a higher percent? I mean, this is all about risk mitigation. We're just walking towards the conversation about, like, risk management, higher reward, exponentially higher risk. Because effectively you'd be waiting for the roulette, ball to land on the right spot, and there would be nothing else. It would not just, like, there's not going to be a condition wherein the market all of a sudden turns around and every altcoin across the board for the top 500 just arbitrarily starts to pump. That's never going to happen again.
No, it'll never happen again because of the ETFs. But I have to get going in a bit. But what I'll say is I had some folks on Twitter send me screenshots of their portfolios and just, like, asking me if it was good or not. It all started off because this one guy sent me one where it was like, hey, 35% Bitcoin, 35% stable coins, and then, like, the remaining percentage in, like, 3 other coins. Like, hey, like, do you think I'm, like, prepared for a bear market? I was like, as long as you're prepared for all those other things other than a stable coin to go down in value, it's nice. Like, you're in a decent enough position to really profit well if the market recovers. And if the market goes down, you have a lot of stable coins to be able to buy at lower prices. So, like, I think you're in a decent spot if you really want to be exposed to the market still. And then I had somebody else comment on that with their screenshot of their portfolio. And they said, I already know what you're going to say. And you're going to say, I don't have any Bitcoin and that's a problem. But, like, I don't have that much capital, so I didn't invest in Bitcoin, which is the thought. Again, the thought that you can't make a lot of money by simply buying Bitcoin.
Another great con.
And it's a time frame thought. It's like, yeah, you're not going to make a ton of money in the short term, but long term, you're going to make money. Then also, most people playing with altcoins don't make money at all. So, there's that. But what I liked about their portfolio, and this is my advice to everybody who still is maybe seeing this mean, like, I just don't have enough money to get Bitcoin. It's not going to give the certain amount of gains. This person, at the very least, only had 4 altcoins. If you're going to only have a portfolio in altcoins, make sure it's as many as you can have really on one hand, because it makes it easy to manage, right? You can see, oh, I'm in profit on this one, I should take a little bit. Oh, I'm getting a little worried about this one, I should get out, or something, right? You're able to pay attention to 5 altcoins, maybe 7. 5, I would say, preferable. You can't pay attention to 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 or the 50 plus portfolios I've seen some people have in coaching sessions. You can't manage it. It's impossible. You're going to lose money every single time, right? So if you still hear us saying, you should have a little bit of Bitcoin, you're like, it's just not for me. If you're going to have an altcoin portfolio, you're going to be exposed to the market and you're not going to have any stable coins, make sure you have like 3, 4, or 5 tops. because anything past a handful of altcoins becomes really hard to manage.
Thank
yeah,
you, sir.
I'll tell you right now, I used to have, I mean, even at my worst, maybe a dozen. And that was awful. Just to try
I
to
believe you. I think it was more.
Yep. I've had over
No.
15 or 20 altcoins before. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah, have had, but like I'm talking about like an active position that I'm trying to run as an investment where I'm making a specific decision to invest in this thing.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep my position in it. I mean, yeah, dude, I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, just through dusting, there's 400 random tokens.
That doesn't, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. We know what you're
You
talking
know
about.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but so I'm being honest. I could honestly sit here. We could start from the beginning. I could probably name every crypto I've ever made a decision to invest in. And spoiler alert, everything is gone except for Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. So
yeah,
And we can,
Guys,
but Will's
I gotta
gotta go.
run.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
see y'all.
He's your
on the
friend and
internet.
he's mine. Mr. Will Watson. Travel safe, man.
Thanks, dude.
Bye for now.
you did.
I want to dwell on that for a second, but first, let me remind everybody listening, if
embarrassing
you have an altcoin portfolio that you want Will to roast, apparently you can send it to him in a DM on Twitter, or you can jump in the community.rumshq.com, wherever you are, whenever you listen. It's the link in our bio. We would love to see you there. That's the most common question we get for sure, and I want to highlight this response. Oh, hey, buddy. It's
caught him.
Arlo. That
Look at how
big
big
old
this asshole is.
bad boy dog. How you doing? How's he doing today? Is he
He's being bad.
he's being bad. So about the same. Good to see him though.
Bad dog.
He looks so he makes looking bad. Being bad looks so good. You know what I mean. Okay. Bearded comes in with the fact check, and I don't know where this comes from. We don't have a source on this aside from the chief fact check officer, but I think this aligns with mostly what I have seen. Over 90% of altcoins, and I feel comfortable saying that considering any token aside from Bitcoin is an altcoin, per this definition, lose most or all value long term, medium drawdowns, 70 to 80%, with many going to zero. The general rule of thumb is if your altcoin goes down, it's never coming back. The number of altcoins, tokens that are not Bitcoin, that have gone down in price and then gone up again versus all tokens that exist is an extremely small pool. But even if you go to like the top 100, this is the thing I wanted to add to this, is that market cap on CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, whatever. That's how a lot of people discover crypto tokens. It's like a one-way escalator is the way to think about this, or a one-way elevator that just goes off a cliff. A new narrative comes in usually faster than the old one recovers. Leif was asking in the comments about DeFi AI. That one is like kind of had some resurgence and stuck around. Privacy has come in cycles and stuck around. Layer 2s have had a moment where, gaming tokens, you name it. ZK. But a lot of the tokens from each cohort of popular tokens, they rise quickly and then they kind of fall and fade into obscurity. I had GPT give me a blast from the past. I was like, help me remember some of the top tokens that were top 10, top 20 that never ever recovered. Namecoin. This is a blast from the past. This was in the top 10 in 2013. It was an early Bitcoin fork. And their whole thing was like, hey, we're going to do a decentralized DNS naming server. Mm-hmm. Technically, it still exists, but there's absolutely no liquidity. There's no mind share. So they were early.
That's the thing. So many of them technically exist.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they get you. And then people, they put on another thing, like they exist still and they were early, so they're coming back. No. Peercoin. This has been in the top 10 multiple times. This is an early proof of stake situation. The whole narrative was like Bitcoin, but better for the environment. And Ethereum totally, ate that niche, dominated them. Feathercoin, NEM, whose ticker became XEM, XEM. That was like an enterprise play. Then there was, ARC, Stratus, Lisk, Walton Chain, a supply chain blockchain, very clever. Icon, Quantum. It was like the best of Bitcoin plus the best of ETH. You know, like BlockDAG or whatever. I don't know. And then there are also projects that like they did stuff well or right in terms of the narrative. Maybe even the tech was good, but they still died. EOS is one I think about. IOTA, Dash. Yeah, and I would also put like ICP in that category.
The fact that I still see people talking about IOTA.
Yeah.
There's your immediate like, oh, okay, that's my cue to leave.
A lot of crypto tokens were successful one time. They have great tech and mind share like DeWolfie here. I think about EOS a lot. Yeah. I think about it more than I would like to, but
EOS is one of those that I made a specific investment in a long time ago and lost it all.
Yeah, but I would also put like, Gala in that category. Decentraland, Engine, I think is in that category.
Engine is on that list for me.
And it's like a lot of these are in
wait.
Hopium.
Because there's a difference between there's nuance here. IOTA may have done well at one point, but it's not because anything about it was legitimately good. There was a massive whale effort to manipulate the price of that token. And I know because I literally got an email from that group. It was not from the team or anything. It was from a coordinated group of whales who wanted to push the price up. And they specifically asked for videos made about it that they would pay you for that you couldn't disclose were paid. And I blocked a lot of, at the time, content creators that I was like working alongside in the crypto space because all of a sudden, like a dozen of them posted IOTA videos. And I'm like, bitch, we all got the email. Come on. So like IOTA is dog shit. It always has been. But the thing that it like did well was manipulate the market for a little bit versus Engine, which just went out of business.
Oh man, we are really touching a nerve here. The comments are coming in. Kite AI, Electronium. Gentle Storm says, man, you are hurting me right now. Ada is on life support. What you got?
Cardano land plots aren't going to run. Exit Velo, I got bad news for you, buddy.
Correct.
Oh my gosh.
No. Hold on. It could. Any day now.
It could. Yeah.
Any day now.
It really could.
How close is it to Snoop Dogg?
Yeah. Is Snoop
really
Dogg's house close to it in Decentraland in the metaverse? Do you need a metaverse real estate agent? Because call me. I'm licensed. I'm licensed in a blockchain somewhere state. I also think who do we have? Our friend Magic. I can't tell if he's joking or serious here because these are also like tokens I would throw in that lot. Pinlink, Osmosis, Jasmy, Crow. What are your takes?
Listen, okay. From the top, Pinlink was a coordinated pump and dump. Maybe there was some sort of value to some kind of a project, but they shot themselves in the foot with a really bad influencer campaign, and that thing is doomed. What was the next one?
Osmosis.
Haven't heard anyone say anything, including anyone from the team, about that project in years. I couldn't tell
honestly,
you.
I was bullish when Hemu was there, and then when Hemu left, that was the DEX he was working with, right?
Yes, but even then, like I was bullish on Hemu.
On him, in spite of it.
Anything about it. And whenever people like him, who are like genuinely really talented and really good, like leave a project, immediately I'm like, ugh, why? Like that puts me on edge. So Osmosis, couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't know anything about it other than Hemu left, which is bearish.
Yeah.
Now granted, he is doing huge and great and extremely important things, so he could have just been, following the calling.
Yeah, shout out
was the next
interval. Jasmy was the next one.
No, it's
the Bitcoin of Japan.
Coordinated manipulation token that honestly we've said before is like not a bad one to trade because it does swing around, but like there's nothing there. It's a Ponzi.
Soon it will be bad to trade, like any meme coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will run out. Crow. This one I feel like is the hardest. I feel like Crow is mostly
I'm morally
a meme coin.
opposed to Crow because it's bullshit. They made it bullshit by pumping and manipulating their vote and reversing a governance decision to burn a certain amount of the token, and they brought it all back, which, again, I've been screaming into the void for years. Token burning is bullshit, and you cannot convince me that it is an important, like, it doesn't mean anything by itself. I need to see it in conjunction with so many different things, and the second that Crow did that, which, again, I would put them in a different category, because why would anyone believe that the token of a centralized exchange was all of a sudden going to be decentralized in any way? But no, they sunk themselves for me after they did that. Like, I don't know what they stood to gain. Money. They just wanted to make money.
The thing I will say is Crow definitely has a large ecosystem.
For
They're
sure.
a relevant product, a
Absolutely.
major exchange.
Yes.
They do
Quite
have some DeFi stuff, and they give
a lot more
like
volume than I thought.
a lot more volume than I thought. And they do of all the tokens in that batch, Crow, I would be like, okay, yeah, it could come back, especially in a bullish scenario. Like if we hit a like a bull run ramp,
I would agree.
no doubt in my mind that Crow has the momentum and the mind share to do easily a 2x. But my question, those are the hardest tokens to eliminate from your portfolio. If you're one of those people who's got 10 or 15 tokens, you're like, I know it's going to do a 2x. And should I hold this or should I hold Uni token? Should I hold this or should I hold Link? And, at that point, the question is, how long will it take for that bull run to happen and that 2x to come back? And would it have been better just buying the dip on Solana, cutting your losses, or rolling it into USDC yield farms on new protocols that are going to earn you 20 to 30% in a year? You know what I mean? Like it's very difficult, I think. But the best thing to do, or at least what I find makes the most sense for me, and often the people I've talked to, learned with, is keep it simple. That's where I would say if you've got 10 tokens like Crow in your altcoin bag and they're keeping you from buying something that seems more likely or certain, you could probably cut one or two of them. If most of your tokens are gonna come back when it's big, you could cut one or two of them. DeWoofy pointed out, my first job in crypto was for a Polkadot parachain. Side note, I thought you wrote Polka Dead. No shade to Dr. Gavin Wood. They're looking pretty borderline. There's a lot of stuff like that comes and goes. And this is the reason it's helpful, I think. I hope people realize the value that we want to offer. You can get crypto news from just about anywhere on the internet. But one of the reasons you should hang out with a group of friends who are not going to try and sell you a particular junky token, and they're all junky sometimes, is because, and especially people who like work in crypto, or people who invest professionally as venture capitalists, or people who just have been here in proximity to the industry for a long time, history keepers, is because unless you know what Alex just shared about, what was the token we were talking about? IOTA, then you might have seen it from the outside and been like, oh my gosh, they got so many partnerships. Oh my gosh, every influencer's talking about them. Or Pinlink, same thing. You might be like, dude, they're everywhere. Their chart looks amazing. But if you sit down and talk with Alex about it and he's like, dude, I got that email from somebody who wanted me to actively break the law, you know it's a ticking time bomb. Like that perspective, I hope you understand, is the reason I choose to do the show with Alex and the reason we show up here every day to help you. I don't think a lot of people who have that have the guts to share it. Not that it takes a lot of guts, but you should recognize that as valuable about my friend Alex. What are we looking at here?
If this is what the chart looks like, you're hoping you're banking on a hope and a prayer. And
Alex, we're halfway there.
Yeah. Well, no, not even. We're not even halfway there. This is Pinlink, but this exact chart pattern, which thanks to the Rise Up Community TA contest, we can call the Godzilla pattern, which is giant monster over here just constantly breathing, nuclear fire on the city over here.
Oh, hang on. Alex.
There you go.
Give me a test check 1 2. Test check 1
check,
2. Test
1
check
2.
1 2.
You good?
Sorry to podcast land. I think my thumb disconnected the sound. You're good.
Okay, we're back.
As you were. He was saying it's the Godzilla chart because it looks like a huge monster stomping down on every building that might try to pop up in Neo Tokyo, or whatever your chart is called. Continue.
Yeah, here's your monster, and it's breathing nuclear fire like this, and it will never get above that ever again. So the best you can do, if you zoom in, is look for little things like this, which, you know, you can trade. Like, this is a thing that, you know, there's swings here. I mean, like, what, you know, what's this? It's up 31% in the last month. So, like, there's a thing. But if you zoom out, here's the year, and there's the full thing. You know, it's not going up here. And you just got to remember how many people own it here, and then own it here, and own it here. And that, you can apply that to any of these things that are just like languishing and maybe gasping for air and could still swing like a little bit. So if you're like buying it, you know, and other stuff like this, I'm just going to keep using Pinlink as an example, but if you're buying things, you know, like down here in these troughs, and you're really aggressive about profit taking the second you see like a pump up for no apparent reason, then great. That's a strategy. You could do that. It's risky, but it's a thing. You know, have at it, more power to you. Just don't be afraid to sell it. Don't fall into this con and this trap that like it's going back here, so just keep buying it and hold on to it, you know, because eventually those gasps for air will stop and it will flatline completely and all the volume will go away and it will go on to something else. Because you got to remember, there are 30 to 40 million altcoins that exist now. Even just last bull run, there were like 40,000. And the one before that, there was less than 10,000. So like when we were making a determination about, you know, altcoin season and altcoins pumping, back in the day when there was 10,000, yeah, sure. 10,000 things can go up in a vacuum. 40 million will not. So
thank you, Alex. And for everybody listening, I need to know, how's my audio compared to Alex's audio? If you want to hear that excellent, well-articulated investment thesis, then you're going to have to listen to the podcast recording. But here's my curiosity. How do I sound compared to Alex? Terrible. I'll be back. Okay. Hold tight. Alex, do something visually interesting. Everybody on the arena, everybody on YouTube, everybody else says it's okay, thanks to Bearded. Podcast land. This is the moment where you get your coffee or pick up your dog's poop or whatever. Hold tight.
I gather that it's quiet. Just for the record, we didn't turn the volume down. That would be an insane thing to do.
Yeah, no. We would never do that to you. Wouldn't that be insane if we were gaslighting the audience with like, no, guys, it's fine. Like, why would you do that? Hold tight. I really think it's this junky cable I've got over here. You're going to lose me completely. Entertain yourself. Check one.
You're muted. You dumbass.
1 2 1 2 1 2. Test check 1 2 1 2.
I would be willing to bet money that it's a TikTok problem.
You think so?
Yeah.
Sound on my phone on max, but I hear just enough. Evan, you're fine for me. Jane, you're fine for me too. Oh, she's talking about the sound. You know what I mean. Alex, give me something.
What's up? Test
now
check.
you guys are
1 2.
fine. You guys are fine too. Everybody giving us all these nice words. Okay, great.
Web3 Glossary says, blame TikTok this week. It plays 100%, and I'm gonna ride that train. It's their fault.
All the way to the bank.
I don't know what that was.
Representation of the facts.
Alex,
Okay.
you had a really good point. So I'm not going to make you
I
belabor
sure
it.
did.
I would like to continue the conversation in this direction, though, and ask you to help people who are in this position. They've got ICP or IOTA or something like that. They've got LCX, I saw in the comments, that is continuing to underperform for them.
So the nutshell of the diatribe I just went on is if you isolate a moment in time, now, a week, a month, and you don't care about the rest of the chart for altcoin whatever. Can you please fix the audio? Yeah.
No. You're good. You're good. We will work on it. You tell me this. And I would encourage you to go to rumshq.com to get the socials for YouTube, Twitter, etc. And remember, this will be a podcast, so you can listen to the whole thing later too. It'll be just as good then.
So if you isolate a moment now, it's true that pretty much any altcoin can randomly go up 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50%. They might still be, even if they go up 50%, they might still be down 98% from their all-time high. That all-time high will never be recaptured for 99.9% of these things. They've done their job. Their job was nonsense. Their job was to pump once and make someone a bunch of money while then get exited from and never come back again. The crappy part about this is that in the regular world, when a company goes out of business, you stop using the company. You stop buying stuff from the company. You stop paying the company for services. This would literally be like buying most of these altcoins is literally like taking a lawn maintenance service that has gone out of business and continuing to pay a monthly subscription fee to them, even though you know that no one works there anymore and they're never going to come to your house again. But you're still paying for it on the off chance that maybe one day they're just going to walk back into the office and start working again, even though there's no reason for them to do it. That is actually the perfect analogy for 98% of the altcoin market. The problem is that you still have a very easy vehicle to get in there and buy things from these companies. So projects like ICP, for example, they don't have to do shit for their token. And they don't, because it doesn't matter. Because they're off researching and doing whatever it is that Dfinity wants to be doing, knowing that one avenue to constantly make money and raise funds is the fact that they have this permanently tradable cryptocurrency that people will convince themselves will one day recapture its all-time high, which will keep them constantly trading it. That volume helps them. There are plenty of examples of this. Basically anything which is a company that created a token that, sounds harsh, doesn't really matter, is not really necessary, has like some niche purpose or utility. If that's the only reason it exists, it's there to make money for the company, whatever the company is. The company probably has other products. They're doing other things. They make money through other ways. But this token will keep them in business for longer, and that's its purpose. Hedera is a big company. They do a ton of stuff. There are a lot of people that work there. They're constantly moving and grooving. Their token matters a whole lot less than you think it does, but it's a great way to keep them funded, and so that's why it exists.
Stellar, and also XRP, Ripple.
Yep.
Ripple is that way.
There's tons of them.
I would say.
There's tons of them. If you then graduate up a level to a token that matters for the function of a thing, I'm talking now about like layer 2 and layer 1 native tokens. You need it to do a thing. The product does not function without the token. Okay, great. Is anyone trying to use the product? Then that graduates to, that's the question you need to ask then. Because most blockchains, again, no one is really trying to use the product. So I guess if I'm leaving you with anything, just be way more critical about these things. Don't hitch your horse to a wagon that's actively driving you towards a cliff, even if right now there's still snacks, because eventually those will run out and you'll fall off a cliff.
We're on a deadly wagon, but at least there's great snacks.
That's another good analogy for like trading a token like Jasmy. Like, yeah, it's driving towards a cliff and maybe you have a while before it goes there and there's still some snacks on board. But like the snacks are going to run out and you will fall off a cliff eventually. So do you really want to take the chance? How long are you going to sit on that wagon eating those snacks when you could get good snacks somewhere else that isn't actively driving towards a cliff? Or at least has longer to go.
Yeah, that's helpful. And if you're down, the question is how down am I? And what could this money be doing for me somewhere else? This card is headed for a cliff, and sure, there's a little dip left in the bucket. I've got some Cheez-Its. I don't know. I don't know whatever your snack is. But I can take that, roll it into something else, go into a better place. It's always better to get off a sinking ship. The sooner, the better. Even if you feel like it's too late, you don't want to go down with the ship. So, well said. Does Pengu fall into that category, do you think?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Although Pengu has a different ingredient that is necessary to consider when you're looking at that token. So any token that's a meme, and I don't just mean like your Doges and your whatevers, but like by a meme, I literally mean like a token who doesn't really have a purpose. Like the only thing that's really driving its price would be speculation, gambling, hype, excitement, fear, whatever. But there's not like a core function that anyone is like relying on. So with Pengu, the thing that you're basically taking a bet on is the relevance, the continued relevance of the brand Pudgy Penguins. That's it. You're not doing anything else with it. There's not like there's not like DeFi vehicles that require it to work. There's not any on-chain economies or ecosystems that are running based on that token or anything like that. You are expressing confidence in the future of a brand and you're speculating on its performance. And that's fine. You can do that. But this kind of all ties into this idea that all of these different cryptos are different, and yet we keep kind of treating them the same way. Like even on these lists, when people throw in a thing that's like, I mean, that comment earlier that was like Pinlink, Osmosis, Crow, and whatever the fourth Jasmy, fundamentally different. And so it's impossible to like take a list of cryptocurrencies and just go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, because that's my opinion based on whatever their functionality is, whether I think it's relevant, on and on and on and on. So I don't know. We just need to, if you look at a crypto and you're trying to figure out what you think about it, the first question you need to answer is why does it exist and who needs it to exist and what is anyone doing with it? You got to answer those three questions first before you go any further.
And even then, you can look at the market cap. If somebody has a token that has a valuable utility to a particular group of people, I think HBAR is a really good example here. The number one driver of a cryptocurrency token's price and price movement is still hype. The HBAR, like Hedera network, it's a closed network that is meant mostly to provide enterprise solutions to people that the validators, who are also approved by a small group of people, basically permission and select. It's an exclusive club. It's not like Ethereum that wants to be the backbone of the future internet and everybody will build on top of it. No. Nobody can just go build on Hedera and get the support of the network the same way. And so, though it may be valuable to some people, it is a smaller total addressable market. Or Cardano, they're focused on these like 10-year plans. They're going to bank the unbanked. They're going to connect the wireless stuff around. Maybe they'll do that. They've got a lot of money. But their market cap is, I don't know, Alex, what? Somebody fact check me, but
too high.
It's too high. It's in the last year, it had been as high as Nike, as high as Starbucks. And they just don't provide that level of value. So you can assess for yourself then, is Cardano's hype star rising or falling?
Yeah, it's $13 billion right now.
Okay, so way lower than it was, but still, like,
That's
high.
That's insane.
Compared to what they're doing. Yeah.
Because look, okay, here you go. Here's an interesting little side-by-side. Throw this up. So, Cardano.
Consider Cardano.
Okay. So the market cap here, $13.2 billion. That's with it down here at what, 35 cents. Okay. Your all-time highs back here, September, August, whatever of 21 at like $3. Okay. So let's keep that in our head. Think about the way that companies get valued. 13 billion. Okay. What would you imagine would be the revenue of a company that is on paper worth $13 billion?
Oh, dude. At least $1 billion. At least $1 billion. That's what I would say.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of
and
factors
that would be a stretch.
Into...
I'd want it to be higher than that. I'd want it to be like 3 or 4 billion.
Yeah. At this point, yes, exactly. Okay, so we've got that number in our head. At least $1 billion. Even $1 billion would still represent a 13x on IBTA, and that's like assuming that that's not even just like revenue. That's like everything. Okay, so let's hop over to the Llama and look at some revenue.
The Llama. DeFiLlama.com.
So now, starting at the top in descending order of TVL, let's look for Cardano. No, 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 no.
Not even in the top 20? Oh,
No.
hurting me. Hurting me.
No. No. Okay, keep going. No. Oh, okay, see more. No.
There we go. Oh.
There she is.
Right above Barachain.
So total TVL. And for blockchains and for a whole ass ecosystem like this, TVL actually does matter. 160 million. Yikes. What's the, let's see, what about revenue?
Just over like 1% of its market cap. Just over.
So the chain revenue in 24 hours is $3,000. Yikes.
So extend that to times 365.
Yeah.
And you're talking less than $1 million. Maybe $1 million. Just about. So
$1.1 million if I'm being generous and rounding up.
So less than 1/100th of 1% of its market cap is its revenue. 0.009%.
So just consider that as we look at a thing. So like if you're buying it right now, it is so unbelievably overvalued that imagine going into Shark Tank and asking the sharks for an investment at a particular valuation and saying that you're currently valuing your company at $13 billion. Oh, cool. How much revenue do you have? About $1 million a year if we're being generous. You would get laughed out of the room. That would be insane. And I say this because if you went back and looked at, okay, Ethereum's market cap is what?
Hundreds of billions.
364.19 billion. Okay.
Taking note.
Their TVL is 70.99 billion. So just about 71 billion. So what's the difference in the ratio between Cardano's TVL to market cap and Ethereum's TVL to market cap?
So it's about 1 to 4 versus about 1 to 13. Really, it's about 1 to 5. 1 to 5 versus 1 to 13.
It's not 13 though, because there's 100 million to 13 billion.
I'm sorry, you're saying revenue or you're saying
No. Ratio of TVL first.
Oh, TVL. Yeah. So 1 to 100 versus 1 to 5-ish, 5.5.
So
much better.
71 into, what did I say, 364?
Oh my God. Everyone in podcast land is like, the numbers!
I know. Bad at math. So, 19% into, what is that, 100 million into...
I don't even know what numbers we're mathing. I'm lost. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
0.7%. Okay. So the difference in these two by itself, Ethereum's TVL to market cap ratio is 1 to 5. Cardano's is 0.07. It's 0.07%. Ethereum's is 20%. 20%
1 to 5
0.07%.
versus less than 1 to 100.
Revenue. Ethereum's chain revenue for the day. Okay, and they break it up into different categories because there's more stuff to track.
Oh yeah.
You have app revenue generated on platform about $1.5 million a day, and that's now. Chain revenue itself, 64-ish thousand per day. These are 24-hour numbers.
And do we know if this takes into account the L2s? Like Ethereum supports lots of other networks on top of it, and I think this is just mainnet.
This is mainnet, yeah. Yeah, the layer 2s are up here, and they all have
their
own.
So to bust the jargon a little, just for folks who are wondering, the same way that the United States government supports state governments or supports, like if you run a hot dog stand in New York City, like technically the United States government infrastructure, federal infrastructure, enables your business or hinders it. The same way state government does. Ethereum is like the United States government. And then your state government is like the layer 2, Optimism, Arbitrum, Base, that affects the business in whatever city you live in. Would you say that's helpful? I really think, we've used cities, we've used governments, other kinds of analogies, but without Ethereum, without the federal government, it would be very difficult for, those kind of incentives to exist. So continue, but this is only part of the value capture picture.
Yeah. So, but then the rest of this can just kind of help demonstrate like things that are happening in and around an ecosystem that would determine whether or not Ether, the underlying cryptocurrency here, the token, the native token to this L1, matters. So DEX volume on mainnet is almost 2 billion a day, $1.813 billion per day right now. Interestingly, perps volume is lower. That's nice. Inflows to the chain, money bridged to ETH from other things in 24 hours, 140 million. More than Cardano's entire TVL got bridged to ETH in the last 24 hours. On and on and on and on. Total bridged TVL, 450 billion. That's total. Value of all tokens held on the chain. So, you have, that's obscene. Just to paint a picture. And I would say that by like standard valuation metrics, ETH is even still a little hot, just like overall. Yeah. But comparatively, we're not even on the same planet. Now, there was a question about XRP, and I know you were just giving me shit, but it's actually a really good question because I can demonstrate something specific here that's worth noting. If we were to go on DeFi Llama, just stay on the same place, and go to Ripple. No, sorry, that's not what I want.
That's not what I want.
I can't type. There we go. Okay, so go to the XRPL, and it'll sit here and tell you 66 million. You can't trust this number. And I've asked DeFi Llama about this specifically because Stellar's is also, weird, and Hedera's is weird. This graph is weird. So because these things are not decentralized, the reporting on it comes from a private source that is just like reporting data, and DeFi Llama will not categorize that because they can't verify it. With these, they would have to take a company's word that this is true. So you would have to, in order to get like a accurate picture, you need to go to the reporting source and then recognize that they are just telling you that. There is no way for you to confirm it, which kind of defeats the purpose. So you can't really categorize, because look at this. Chain fees in 24 hours on all of the XRPL is like $600. And yet their market cap is, whatever it is, 116 billion. Now, granted, this is not accurate. This $652 in a day is not accurate. Ripple as a company makes more money than that. But it's not reported because it's private. It's not open source. It's not on chain. Blah, blah, blah. So
actually,
just
I'm
keep
prepping
that
a
in
video
mind.
about that. I made a video the other day. You know how it is. You do one video that mentions XRP, and then you got to do like 2 or 3 more to clarify everything.
Yeah.
It's a good example of that. Ripple as a company is probably the most successful crypto company in terms of how people know it. They know its name. They have an opinion about it that is positive and favorable, but they also probably have the widest distance between the favorable opinions that people have of their company, their token, and what that token is actually used for. I really agree with Emily's video from the other day where she categorized XRP as a meme coin. I think it is mostly a meme coin. But there are some good numbers I have found to try and do just a different video comparing some of these things. Do you ever use Artemis? Artemis
No.
Analytics, Alex?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
They are like, I would put them in that group with Masari or whatever. They had this resource that came out. And Masari, for folks who are new to that name too, is their whole product is research. And they put together a really robust annual report with great data, easily verifiable information, mostly from on-chain sources. Artemis is the same way. And they did this like stablecoin payment report. What's everybody always saying about XRP? It's going to be used for settlements, remittances, cross-border payments, and that kind of thing. And we like to say, well, how's it going to compete against somebody like Tether? How's it going to compete against somebody like USDC who's eating their lunch? This report is one of several really good data sources about this. But one of the things that they survey is like how many stablecoin payments are actually being done and who is doing them. It's easy to look at information like this that you can verify for yourself to see that the claims from somebody in, TikTok land somewhere telling you that XRP is doing all this volume, they're misinformed at best. So Artemis is a really good source for that, where DeFi Llama maybe fails. But there are also other good sources that talk about the way that businesses like XRP, like Hedera, are actually being used. And one source I found researching for this video I want to do is, can you believe it? MEXC. I know, right? I feel like we got to gwump them just because we said it. But the other claim I hear all the time is banks are using XRP. Banks are using XRP. What banks actually use XRP?
They're using RippleNet.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a complete list of financial institutions using Ripple. Oh, look, they gave me a coupon. Claim your $20 now. Don't miss out. Come on, guys. I'm here for the research. Don't try to sell me your junky exchange. And there are a couple. But when you compare it to like what other banks are doing, a lot of them, you can see in reports like this one, they are choosing to build their own blockchains. They are piloting stuff, and then they are moving away. But some private holders will prefer this infrastructure because they don't want to build their own. I feel the same way about Hedera. The biggest example here is SBI Holdings. This is that Japanese bank that everyone says, they're going to use XRP. They're a big deal. They do use Ripple's on-demand liquidity for Japan to Philippines transfers. They've expanded to Vietnam. They've expanded to Indonesia. And Santander has used them too. But the picture that people paint for you about how widely they're being used, the picture that people paint for you about Cardano, about how they're going to do this, how they're going to do that, about Stellar, even employees at those companies will tell you that the truth is this is not indicative of the larger, broader picture. I saw a video of David Schwartz saying, most banks are not going to want to use XRP for this kind of thing. They're going to want to build it themselves. But the rumors persist. The hype, the hopium, it's painful. It gets a lot of people.
Because that's the
could
purpose
XRP,
of
could
most
Hedera
crypto.
go up in value? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, that's the purpose. It could go up in value. Of course, you might get a 3x. You might get a 5x. I don't know. Depends on when
And
you buy it.
you can also say that XRP is more likely to recover and go up in value and make you money than pretty much every other altcoin we listed today.
Absolutely. Yeah! I would say so. If you ask me to bet right now, my whole portfolio on a token that has like gone down from its all-time high, and could it come back, Ripple would be like
Top
in the
5.
conversation. Absolutely, 100%, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It would absolutely be in the top 5.
Yeah, it'd be silly not to. The only thing that I really want out of all this is just to like be honest about why that is. Because you think about phrases like on-demand liquidity. What does that mean? Every ecosystem with accessible liquidity has liquidity that is on demand. That's a nonsense statement. That doesn't mean anything. It's a really good brochure, though. What I always see, like transferability, and then the example about like sending money effortlessly cross borders. That's the whole point of every blockchain on Earth. That's the core function of every on-chain transfer, that it's borderless. And
have you heard of stablecoins?
That's the whole point. So yeah, I would hope that that's the case. It's just like advertising a car as being better than another car because this one has wheels and this one will move and you can sit in this one and it has an engine. It's like, we're naming the basic core building blocks that build a vehicle. Got it. The thing that I really care about is the fact that like everyone knows about your car. And this one is everywhere and everyone's excited about it. And it's got a crazy strong brand and their staying power is immense. All of a sudden then, I don't care about anything else. That's enough for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. And could Ripple change? Could it improve? Absolutely. They've got a ton of money. They had
ton of money.
And now they've got that, the court case is out of the way. They're in the White House. Brad Garlinghouse is hanging out with the president. So if anybody can swing that bat and make a turnaround or recovery, I think it's them. But they've got a long road to hoe. Alex, on the way out the door, because I'm realizing it's about that time, Bearded's getting on the tractor. We got to start riding our dogs and ponies into the sunset, and a lot of people are leaving on TikTok because our sound was terrible. So sorry about it. Let's do a final thought. We have a question from the audience asking for our top 5, which might be quick and boring. You said yesterday it should be a button on the soundboard. Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and then, ask me later. Stablecoin somewhere. Maybe, one other thing. We talked about yesterday a number of tokens that we would consider buying right now if we were into trading, or maybe for the short to medium term, holding for expected profits based on growth, revenue, other kinds of things. Check that episode out. It's on YouTube. It's on your favorite podcasting platform. And I also want to say, if you are somebody who wants to get in touch with resources like that, L. Kirk had a good question. What's a good video to share about XRP? That's in the community. Every resource we've ever created is easiest to connect with if you go to community.rumshq.com, because it's the best way to make sure you're talking to us. And not just us, but a bunch of our longtime friends who are also crypto users who, if you've got a question, can probably answer it faster. I want to shout out everybody who's being helpful in the community, but that list of people is so long, I don't know that I could do it. So just know that if you are one of the many, that you are deeply appreciated. You really are the very best part of what we do. And we would love it if you come back tomorrow. Check out the show. We would love it if you came back in just a few hours to check out Trust Issues. Alex, what's on the docket for Trust Issues today at 3 p.m. Eastern?
The Senate Ag Committee's version of Clarity, which is theoretically going up for a vote soon. And Emily has an article that we're going to go through. That's probably going to take up the whole time.
Yeah,
it's
policy,
clarity.
politics, and crypto, baby.
Yep.
If that sounds fun, check it out. Trust Issues broadcasting on all these platforms.
Fun is not the word I would use.
Yeah, some people would.
It is important, though. Because,
it is important.
Spoiler alert, everyone who's talking about Clarity being really good for crypto can't read. They forgot to do that thing. Read the
second grade reading level. Got to get it on the soundboard. And then tonight we'll be back with Azim Khan, co-founder of Maiden, for Rise Up After Dark. That is 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. It's a full day of broadcast today. After Dark is today. That's correct. 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Azim is awesome. I really enjoy him. I enjoy the way he thinks, the way he speaks. And Maiden is building a privacy layer. You might think of them as a competitor to someone like Midnight in terms of narrative focus, but I'm sure he'll be glad to tell us what they're doing, why it matters, the specifics. And then he's just got a lot of great stories from his life as a business person and entrepreneur. I really enjoy him. So that's tonight. Tomorrow we'll be back to close out the week with the Rise Up Morning Show. But Alex, on the way out, a final thought, a last question to answer. What you got?
Yes. So
yes.
Trust Issues is 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. This is probably the last week it'll be at that time slot. I don't like the time slot. It doesn't really work well for anyone. So stay tuned. We'll obviously keep you posted, probably moving to an evening slot on Tuesday, I think. I just have to coordinate with Emily and Lindsay. But I will answer the question about top 5. Here's the list of the only cryptos I'm really interested in.
Wait.
Deeply right now.
Let me give you a...
Thanks. So it's going to come as a surprise to nobody that we are going to do this based on revenue. So I know that pesky thing. There's always at least one comment that's like, nobody cares. And I'm like, I know, that's the problem. That's the problem. Do you know how if I went into like any other investor circle with this hot take that company revenue really matters and it's important, everyone would be like, yep. Anything that any kindergartner doesn't know, but you'd say it in the crypto space and people are like, revenue? You can check that? So here you go. Oh, yeah, I forgot that thing that you're supposed to do where you click share. So hang on. Here comes a screen share. Podcast land. What are we looking at? Here's a list of tokens and their related revenue. Lido. This is 30-day revenue. Or BNB. Cow. Never heard of GODL. No clue what that is. Usual. Yeah. Never heard of that. Graphite. Never heard of that. Limitless. Heard of that. Aether. Interesting. And Helium.
Where'd you get this?
What the hell is this?
Where'd you get this? Is this Perplexity trying to tell you something?
This is Llama's AI.
DeFi Llama's AI needs I don't.
Can I just ask it? What the hell?
Yeah, ask it. What the hell? Are you hallucinating?
The llamas are confused.
Yeah, the llamas are confused. That's funny.
All right,
Okay.
let's just do this the old-fashioned way without using the thing. I'll ask Sean about that. Okay, so here we go. Go to metrics. Type revenue, fees and revenue by protocol. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the names that were here we go. That's the list I'm looking for. Okay. So up at the top, you've got your big stablecoin issuers. They make a shitload of money. We're not talking about that. USDC to $2. Pump.fun leading the pack with 7-day revenue at $12 million. There we go. Here's what I was looking at. Hyperliquid. Tron, love it or hate it. They make a lot of money. Axiom, Grayscale, EdgeX. These were a couple that popped up yesterday that had no clue were as big as they were and make as much money as they do. Phantom leading the wallet pack. GMGN is an interesting one. I saw that pop up on Twitter a while ago and then kind of forgot to look further. But Sky, previously Maker. There is Ore, so Ore does make a ton. Meteora, Jupiter, Aave. These are all Aerodrome still in the top 20. Lido, top 20. Fragment, same thing.
And I think, Alex, just for viewers, this is sorting it by 24-hour revenue. I would want to see the 30-day revenue sorted. That's what I would want. And honestly, I would want to extend it out further. I'd want to say, what's somebody's 6 months revenue? Because unless I'm looking for a hype right now token, if I'm looking for a swing trade, maybe I want to know right now.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for add it to my bag and try to forget about it for a minute.
And you can see here that based on 30-day 2, it really didn't change it too much. Tether Circle still leading the pack with Hyperliquid in third place. Although the difference between Circle in second at 191 million in a month and Hyperliquid at 58.1 million in a month, still huge chasm, but obviously a lot. That's it. I am interested in Bitcoin ETH Sol because Bitcoin is Bitcoin, because Ethereum is the king, and because Solana is in second place. Based on revenue, ecosystem growth, and users doing stuff. Then after that, what I start to look at would be things that by comparison are underperforming based on the fact that they do make money, even if their core functionality of the token is not necessarily quite as useful. You can use hype. Can you trade on Hyperliquid without holding any hype?
Yeah.
So there you go. So Hyperliquid's platform revenue is not dependent necessarily on the token. And perhaps there's an incentive baked in. We've seen that with Uniswap. We've seen that with Polygon. We've seen that with a couple of Aerodrome as well, wherein I can use Aerodrome, the DEX, without holding any Aero. I don't ever really need to do those two things. So it's an important distinction to note that you don't need the token for the thing. But ETH, Sol, Polygon, BNB, if you want to use the network, you got to have the token. So that's important. And if then people are using the network, then there is legitimately at least some demand for the token. So that's how I would look at it.
Dude, I sleep on BNB so hard.
I know.
And I swear I am not racist, but I do think it is sort of an ethnocentric thing. The fact that I can't use Binance, the exchange.
I was going to say, you got to remember, and cut yourself slack that it's completely removed from the US-based crypto space and ecosystem. It is. And the only way, dude, look at Twitter has completely turned on CZ. Everything posted about him is bad. Yes. That ever since he was pardoned, everything's been down only, that he's just a manipulator, that everything is bullshit, he's fabricating this, he's a criminal, blah, blah, blah. That's all you see.
CZ, man, hey, if you're listening, I know he listens. I know he's listening out there with his evening tea. CZ, man, I just want you to know we love you. Big time.
We do?
Big fans.
We are?
Come on.
Sponsor
the show, CZ.
Yeah. No, I don't want that.
No. You wouldn't take that Binance money? Oh,
no, fuck
man.
no.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I might be persuaded. I'd rather take Binance money than Mexi money.
Okay, that's sure. Like saying I'd rather get the clap than HIV.
Yeah.
Like, is that really saying much? No.
Oh, okay. My top 5, and this is important. Portfolio breakdown is going to be obviously Bitcoin, like Alex, and probably if I'm just constructing from zero and I've got $100 to spend, $70 of it is going to find its way to Bitcoin at least. I might split hairs about 75%, 65%, depending on how the market is right now, 50%, whatever. But 70 is a good strong number for me to start. 7 out of $10 are going to Bitcoin. I'm not going to regret that. Never going to regret it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I start to change my mind about that, Bitcoin is big enough of a tower that if it starts to topple, I'll be able to see it coming from far enough away because I'm paying attention to it that I'll be able to pivot. No problem. I've got a plan A, B, and C for that. It'll be easy. ETH is my number 2. If I was feeling froggy, I said this to Alex the other day, and I wanted to express my conviction in a growth play that was maybe a little riskier, though not much, I would say Solana is number 2 in terms of I'm here to make money, so the next biggest portion of my bag will either be ETH or Sol. And that'll probably be 15 to 20% between the two of them. Maybe even a little more depending on the day. And then that last 10% is almost always actively in stablecoins, farming something. And then from that bag, I might say, or from the Solana ETH stablecoin bag, that 30% is where I would say, okay, what can I afford to invest in a growth play? A riskier growth play or a more aggressive growth play, meaning something that produces less revenue, something that has been here less long, you know what I mean? Something like Hyperliquid, something like Uniswap, something like Aave. Aave, is around. I would say Aave is, you could argue it's more tested than Solana, but things change in crypto all the time. And that's one of those things.
Proximity to money.
Yeah,
that's
proximity
it.
to money.
Proximity to revenue, money, growth, capital.
Yeah.
Volume, TVL, liquidity, etc. All that has to get factored in. So what's my top 5? I don't have like a top 5 because it's just Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and then if I'm looking at other stuff, it would be Hype, it would be Uniswap. I do have a swing position in Arrow because they still make money, and when they range, it's 10 to 15% swings. So I like capitalizing on that. That's easy. I wouldn't be working with Polygon if I didn't think that there was some kind of value there. So right now I'm kind of waiting to see if like, okay, they've got all this stuff, and it looks like we're getting Mark back pretty soon. I'm hoping to have Mark on the show next week to talk about the grand vision.
If I was going to buy an L2 token as an investment, it would be Polygon.
That's the only L2 that I'm interested in, just because right now they're kind of at this inflection point where like, okay, you've set it up, like, can you deliver? Like there's different ingredients being worked on. Trying to fix viability of the token. They are definitely doing the volume. There's a tremendous amount of use and adoption, and you need Paul to do all that. So we'll see. Right now, though, that's like, it's not, I would say that one's on probation. And then, like I said, just top down it from revenue, like BNB.
Yeah, BNB would be in my top 5. If I wasn't going to make a growth plan, Sol or ETH, or just wanted a third, like feels pretty comfortable and confident, I would buy the dip on BNB.
Yep.
I would hesitate to take the Binance money, but I would never bet against CZ.
I would also throw in there, just like I said, the brand recognition. Like, I will be objective about the fact that I'm only doing this because of a strong brand presence, not because the token itself is like valuable or does anything important. But those XRP, you're kind of silly to think that it's going to disappear. They're too big. Way too many people are obsessed with it.
I think it'll be less relevant in 5 to 10 years. That's the bet I'm making.
For sure. But I mean, dude, my parting thought is that anyone who sits here and confidently tells you anything about an altcoin in the next 10 years is just making shit up. Like, oh my God. Can't even begin to fathom how different all of this is going to look in 10 years. If you're making a price prediction on an altcoin for 10 years from now, I couldn't even confidently do that about Ethereum. A lot can change in 10 years. So, like, pump the brakes, buddy. Like, I don't give a shit what we all think is going to happen in 10 years. None of this matters in 10 years.
Yeah, Alex and I are going to be old by then. Hopefully, retired. Hopefully, the sea breeze has done him some good, but I have a feeling Alex will be saltier.
Always.
I'll have less hair. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
But we'll be here, and we'll be talking about it. Come back, find us then, or come back today for Trust Issues, for After Dark, and, of course, for another episode of the Rise Up Morning Show tomorrow. I am sure that Chelsea is live right now, the Bullish Babe, on TikTok. I'm sure over on Twitter you'll be able to find some good live streams. I think Laura Shin, is she going live later today? I don't know. TBPN is going live today. They go live every day. I love that show. I have a supreme jealousy over their growth, and I just love what they do.
Good show.
But we'll be live 24/7 in the Rise Up community. Community.rumshq.com. The only thing missing is you, and you are the very best part of what we do. So thank you, my friends. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, be well, rise up.